Welcome back to the Papa Meat channel. How you doing? How you doing? Come on and sit on down because today we're talking about Junji Ito's Uzumaki. Probably one of the most popular horror anime out there ever. Junji Ito, if you don't know him, is the master of the macabre. I would say he is the head front, the most popular, the most well-known horror manga artist out there. You know, he is influenced by Kazuo Umez or even Hideshi Hino of that kind. And really, Junji Ito is the guy who brought it all together with his realistic, horrible artwork that isn't too cartoonish. It's more graphic, detailed, amazing ideas. You know, a lot of people talk about Junji Ito's artwork and they just, that's usually all they talk about, the grotesque imagery. But he's got so many fun ideas, so many like creepypasta ideas rolled up into these like really exquisite, digestible, awesome stories. I mean, it's comparable to like H.P. Lovecraft, Edgar Allan Poe in that sense, you know, uncanny, the unknown in a very short format. Pretty sweet. And everyone was elated when back in 2019 when Adult Swim announced that, oh, we're making an Uzumaki show. And everyone was like, ooh, well, that's kind of nice. Look at that. It's black and white, finally. And, you know, I was a little skeptical when they first announced it. As you know, on this channel, we've talked about 2 Junji Ito adaptations. Both of them pretty bad. The biggest criticisms I had were, one, in color. The black and white aesthetic really adds to, I would say, the general vibe of these horror stories. It's kind of like watching old Twilight Zone episodes. For some reason, it just adds to the appeal of these kind of little horror shorts. They unveiled the first little snippet of the show, and it looked awesome. Beautiful. It looks unbelievable. It looks like an actual moving comic. You know, people say there's the moving comics that people do. They look terrible. That's awful. This was actually, it felt like a manga panel coming to life, and actually, you know, it wasn't just a beautiful still image anymore. These beautiful women that he draws, because he has this uncanny ability to just draw beautiful women. Actually seeing that person move their hair, walk down a hill was incredible. I mean, still today, it was one of the most hyped things ever. And boy, oh boy, was the internet, woo! People were excited. And then all of a sudden, it gets delayed. And then it gets delayed again. And then it gets delayed again and again and again and again and again, to the point where now even my brow started to furrow. I did this. What's going on here? They released little teasers here and there until finally they gave us an October release date in 2024, 5 years after it's announced, for it to finally go live. People were excited. Hell, even I was bought in by this time with seeing some of the teasers, but little did I know some of the horror that was going to await for me. And the Uzumaki show is not an entire adaptation of the book. The book's pretty thick. They condensed it down, made creative changes, and even Junji Ito was just like, which basically some of the main keys are that some of the characters live a little longer. I think they cut some of the fat of some of the places they go. Pretty much it was just condensing it down into a digestible format that would allow for an Adult Swim budget. Boy, oh boy, were they wrong. Because here's the thing, let's just get into it. It's 4 episodes, and this truly is the downward spiral of the Adult Swim Uzumaki adaptation thing. Episode 1, I don't even know how to say it. Made me come. All right, rock hard. Big hard, soupy goopy in my pants. It felt like there was a family of spiders living in my pants. It was that sticky and that. It was really good. The first episode begins with just that beautiful teaser shot that we saw. Our main protagonist walking down the slope of our town. And it has a very classic Junji Ito thing where it's just like, my town's been kind of weird lately. That's almost how every single one of Junji Ito's story starts. So it's just like, my neighbor's weird. But then even accented with this beautiful it kind of reminded me of the score from Hereditary a bit. Kind of like weird flutes and different kinds of like offsetting patterns. Really helped immediately send us into this descent into madness. Every other adaptation does not do. The biggest thing the adaptations did is they did not capture horror. Horror is all about atmosphere. It's about tension. It's about setting up a universe where you feel like people who think they're safe are not safe. Hello? Instead, all the other adaptations pretty much just take shot for shot of the manga, because there's big, classic, full page turn moments in Junji Ito's work where you do, look at that detail! You do that a lot. And they're awesome images, but all the other adaptations, they just kind of show it. And you're like, there's that panel we know. Usually these are also cheaper productions as well, and everything is watered down really bad. Like I would say when Family Guy, the show, isn't shaded, but if they did a Family Guy, the movie, it would be shaded. It's that kind of meme. It's like you can tell that they watered it down, which whatever, for some productions is fine, but even they just miss the key point, which is building onto a still image. If you have a still image of the classic one of the guy pushing his face, whatever, and all the zips popping. You can't just show the goop still. Show the fucking things popping and fucking falling and the weight of stuff falling on your face. And you be like, whatever. Because when you're reading that in the book, that's what we're imagining. I'm imagining the smell of it, the weight, how fucking warm it is on my face, like all that kind of stuff. That needs to be translated to a visual medium, and that's never happened until this first episode of Uzumaki. Oh God, just beautiful little vignettes of just like acting, people running away, the way the luggage is fucking all flying around and stuff. But really, most importantly, is it takes his work of a town kind of going crazy over something simple like spirals. I mean, it just taps into these little vignettes to all these different people in town in such a fascinating way. And because the artwork is so beautiful, I mean, you're really bought in. They do a lot of 3D work, which I'm not the biggest fan of 3D stuff in that, but it's fine. If anything, they do a lot of rotoscoping too, which if you don't know rotoscoping, it's pretty much tracing over like footage. So you'd have test footage of someone being like, oh, and then the person would draw it and it would look just like that. It's like almost uncanny because it looks too real. There's a lot of those moments, but to me it adds to it, because if there's one thing with Junji Ito's work, or especially horror, is you need to have that realism. If you have a character that is overtly cartoony and the normal laws and rules like physics of an actual human being aren't applied, that horror isn't going to, it's not going to live up to it. Like, it's not going to be fun to watch. If Bugs Bunny is in a Junji Ito comic, motherfucker's gonna be okay. You know, he falls off a fucking side of a cliff, he gets shot in the face, nothing really happens, right? If he's all like, you know, all like loosey-goosey and weird, then it doesn't make any of the other eccentric things happening on screen seem as awesome or like as interesting, because the characters aren't real. They're not based in reality. Biggest compliment I could give in this first episode is they feel like people. It's hard to do in a cartoon, extremely hard to do. I haven't been able to do it, right? Let me tell you, I haven't been able to do that. My hat was just immediately off and tipping immediately. I was like, ooh, good. But then even the way that they approached the horror, there was some spots where they kind of did the classic thing where mom walks in, he's like, oh, there's a big pot in our fucking room, and they immediately walk up, they're like, what's this? And they just lift it up, and it's the classic image of the guy stuck in the spiral. And I was like, I wish that you would adapt those things into being more suited for a visual narrative. Take some time getting to the fucking thing, right? Slowly open it, and then do a reveal where you're like, oh, and then you show like the thing's hand first, or maybe his like arms are slithering in there and it's really tight and he's like breathing still in there, and then you do the wide reveal where it's the classic image. How do you add on to the still image narrative device that the comics give you? You just gotta add a little bit, which they do in some. The one where the dad uncurls his tongue, that's like a really popular image. His tongue's all long and stuff, and in this one they make it more dynamic. It's just fun to look at, and the episode is paced so well that by the end of it, you're so hooked. I mean, the ending to the first episode is so strong, and it ends on such a bang. It would feel impossible that this thing kind of it disappeared. Come on now, have a you know what I mean? Sink back in there. I didn't like the little boop, it's gone. Come on. Not a bad complaint though, because then there's the part where her entire body folds in on herself, and it's awesome. And that's how you capstone a fucking awesome way to intro Junji Ito's work. His most popular work is this first episode. Hey everyone! If you want to support the channel, consider signing up to our Patreon. You get this beautiful Margaret sticker that comes out this month, and by God does it help the channel and help us keep making all this dumb shit that we like to make. So, if you want to help us support the channel, please consider signing up for the Patreon. Link below, bitches. What we didn't realize was that first episode was the first ring of our own spiral that we were descending, because the second episode is so bad and so upsetting that I'm pretty sure it killed any other adaptations that would ever be taken seriously to be made. Between episode 1 and 2, we get a lot of tea. Most importantly from the guy making the series. We get a string of tweets that say, it's fine. We knew this would happen. I can't talk about what went down, but we were screwed over, and the options were A, not finish and air nothing and call it a loss. B, just finish and air episode 1 and leave it incomplete. Or C, run all 4, warts and all. Out of respect for the hard work, we chose C. After waiting so long, it makes sense people would be mad. Unfortunately, I can't tell them who to blame it on, but someone is definitely at fault here, and we all just had to do our best when things imploded. Maybe others would have made different choices. We did the best we could with what we had. But again, a lot of people worked very hard on this show, and I didn't think the actions of just 1 or 2 people should be a reason it never saw the light of day. Maybe that's the wrong choice, I truly don't know. But those people have a right to be annoyed and disappointed. I'm glad you were digging it. Immediately on episode 2, I mean, you get whiplash, all right? The drawings moves are way off model big time. You start noticing the animation's really choppy and bad. This is like if Slayer released Rain in Hell and then they released that one, come my lady, come my lady, you're my butterfly, sugar baby. It's like if they did that. It's pretty bad. The drawings are just awful. Compared to the first episode, the second episode is just paced very, very poorly. I don't want to harp too much on the animation and the looks of it because it's just obvious. I mean, it made its rounds on Twitter. To me, the biggest egregious is if the show was poorly animated due to a budget constraint, that's fine. I understand that. From a business standpoint, I understand where you're coming from. And as Jason DeMarco said, I'm glad that they just released it instead of just doing one episode and then you're kind of always just scratching your head being like, whatever happened to that? Because no one would care. If you just have to release it and you had a team of people work on it, it is what it is. But even the pacing of which they told the story is so fast, so much stuff is just kind of happening. Bam, bam, bam. Whereas before we get these nice, subtle, we're really eased into these vignettes in this world. This time it's just kind of like all hell's broken loose. The spiral, which was once kind of like a crazed pendulum, is now just toilet drain that is just like spinning faster and faster until you have all these awesome ideas that are introduced from the original text that really take its time and breathe into some of these scenarios. And now you have slug people. Even the curls in her hair become fixated and kind of have a mind of their own. Really cool ideas that are just kind of chopped at the shins just because it's just so fast. You really don't have a time to digest any of the cool shit that's in front of you. And it doesn't help that the visuals are so bad. Like, I mean, it's so off model. Every frame the girl, our protagonist, is in the first episode is beautiful. I mean, like, it's really kind of weird to think about. It's like every shot she's in, just a beautiful centered piece, and it just feels like a piece of art. And this one, I feel like I'm looking at 40 different women because they're so off model and off kilter the entire time. There's really no quality control, which I want to say this too. So the whole thing is that they said that, oh, all of our money got dumped into the first episode. We didn't have any more money. Dog. They gave you a budget for the entire season and you blow it all on episode 1. And even then, it's like, that's what you did? It's good. It's beautiful. Don't get me wrong. But also, I'm just like, 5 years of work for that? That feels a bit long, doesn't it? Seems something's a little kooky on both sides, all right? If you're gonna have things look like a piece of shit, at least make it fun to watch. And this was just basically being on a roller coaster ride where someone is pistol whipping you in the back of the head with the visuals. So I feel like I'm all over the place. I'm up and down the whole time. I don't really know, like, I think I knew the characters and I feel like I don't really know them anymore because things are going by so fast. Now just I have this ugly duckling to look at. Unfortunate. And the same could be said about episode 3, except even then in episode 3, it feels like it gets a little cheaper. I don't know how it's possible. Somehow, some way, feels like it gets a little cheaper, which is just so unfortunate. But it just keeps getting worse because even in episode 4, I feel like there was like a rally to get something going again. But then there's just moments where that guy like falls down the pit and it's just a still compressed PNG of something falling. And then you have this like jittery, like, she's like, but it looks like a Flash animation or like a South Park animation. Like they started with South Park physics. Like, I mean, like I said, you've probably seen some of these, but like episode 2, when people are running away and they're like at an angle and it's like obviously a shape layer that's just shrinking and they're just tweening it forward and it looks so awkward. The visuals are bad. It's bad. Okay. What am I supposed to tell you? But the biggest disappointment is that you dangled a golden carrot in front of our face. Episode 4 ends with, I mean, once again, to say it's rushed is an understatement. To make this a 4-episode thing was also kind of ambitious at 20 minutes apiece. Because the story of Uzumaki plays a lot with like time. It plays a lot with like, once again, descent into madness, kind of the H.P. Lovecraft kind of something is under the lake, something mysterious and unknown. You really need to see this kind of lapse of time. Kind of her parents just are kind of gone. What? It's like they're gone. You're like, oh, okay. And then her brother's like, I'm a snail now. You're like, what? She like pokes him with a fucking stick and he crawls down the side of a hill and you're like, oh, okay. But there's so many interesting ideas presented again of like the snail people were people at one point and now people have gone mad because there's no food. So they start eating the snail people. How cool is that? How good is that? The guy crawls in a shell. He's like, why don't I eat it fucking raw? With horror, you need time. When I make my parodies, it's easier to do parodies because everyone has an understanding of what these characters already are. So that whole setup is gone because you know these characters. So I'm able to get you right to the point of where you're trying to go and just focus right in on one moment in time. That's a big part of why parody train is so popular. You're able to get in, get out. Only then whenever you are at the end of your journey at the end of the trail and you're right back where you started at the town, but the town is now this transformed giant diagram, like a giant labyrinth. Do you feel that kind of weight, that defeat, but then also that that absolute disgust, that bottomless pit in your stomach of absolute chaos and dread. That's what time gives you. So having a 4-part miniseries is difficult. I felt like I saw the vision with the first episode. You cover a lot of ground in a great way, and there's probably ways to do it. But the second, third, and fourth episode, animation and visuals aside, just don't land that first episode pacing that makes it such an enjoyable watch, makes it such a memorable, haunting watch as well. If I had to talk about any of the animation stuff, is that every idea was there. This is Junji Ito's, probably arguably his most popular, best work. I still think my favorite is like Amigara Fault or whatever, or The Long Dream, just because they're up my alley, but it's really hard to beat Uzumaki. I mean, you have body horror, you have existentialism, I'm gonna say it, I'm gonna beat it to death, descent into madness, of something so simple of just people's fixation on a spiral, only to have it accumulate to some kind of crazy, which it is exactly at the mouth of madness, is it not? It's Lovecraftian. You go and it turns out that it's like an ancient tomb or civilization that was here before, and it's probably been here, and it's gonna like curse people again. It's a perfect example of that, and it's fucking awesome. I don't know how they would have done this. I mean, it would have been more, probably need more money. You're expecting that from Adult Swim, who historically is probably, out of all of the networks, has the least amount of money. I mean, everything they make, they do it for very cheap, and it's a lot of people that are creator forward, who are very passionate to make something. Watching Smiling Friends, you would never know that that show probably has 4 times less budget than Universal Basic Guys. It made me disgusted to even look at it. Zach and Michael make Smiling Friends on Adult Swim. Their budget is unfathomable. 10 times less than Universal Basic Guys. Show a clip of Smiling Friends.
Air Force, you have entered restricted airspace and are being intercepted by an armed air defense fighter.
Pretty good. Show a clip of Universal Basic Guys.
I finally make a friend and now I can't be friends with him?
Listen, you know how your mom is with the whole I don't like the devil nonsense, you know.
Forget it. No, screw you both. Tell Mom I'm out doing experiences.
Hey, come on, there.
Come on, JD, let's get out of here. Oh, wait. Oh.
All right, you go have fun, all right? Crazy kids.
You know what? It is what it is. Trying to work in a very tight budget is very difficult. I've been making cartoons, regardless what you think of them. You could hate them, you could do whatever. All I know is I have been making cartoons independently for a long time, and there are ways to get things done that doesn't just completely kill people. Is it a lot of work? Yes, definitely. It's hard to say who's at fault here. I feel like both parties are. I think they put all of their eggs in one basket, and it left everything else so bare that there was no redeeming qualities. If you knew that this was the budget, you should have taken the quality of this and cut it up to where every episode had that kind of same consistency. And I still think it would have been very well received. Like, I really do. There's been so many of these Junji Ito adaptations in the past, everyone overlooks because they're so cheap and so bad that even the aesthetic of having it black and white and having some of these nice key moments where it counts with some of these monster transformations where it comes from the pacing or whatever, if they would have just divided that up, I still think it would have been a very successful show. Would people have thrown themselves into, oh God, it's the greatest looking thing ever? No, they probably wouldn't have done that, but I don't think you have to make the greatest piece of media to get across a really good story. And that's what Junji Ito is giving you. He's giving you the structure of being like, this story's great. I am giving you all the ideas. Just simply make it. It's unfortunate. It also sucks too because the guys made something so fucking good to where your gut response is give them more money. That's just not how business works. You can't delay things for however many X years and just expect that kind of equity to keep pouring in, especially whenever like the streaming wars happening, Adult Swim is getting bought by all these different companies, sold. That's just not the name of the business. And also the people that you think care about funding these things, the guys at the top, they don't. They're there to make money. That's the business. So it's unfortunate. It is honestly one of the greatest letdowns I've ever had watching something. It's so sad. I gush about Junji Ito all the fucking time. I mean, like, I have been so inspired by that dude. The first episode was such a home run, and then to have it be completely thrown out at the end, such a bummer. But I don't want to discredit the entire production. Like, I don't want to discredit all the people that still made the show, because with limitations, low budgets, who knows, man? All I know is that there were still some cool ideas there. There was still some interesting, like, some of the cool, interesting visuals still got to come through in episodes 2 through 4. It's not like it's the worst thing ever. The thing too is that the show itself, even with episodes 2 through 4 and some of like the really cheap or even mistakes that they made in the show, it still is far, far more memorable than any of the other adaptations so far. So for that, I think that's at least some kind of positive to come out of it. People say that Junji Ito stuff should not be adapted. You can't adapt it. I think the first episode has shown that you can. It just takes time, it takes money, and it takes patience. It just, most importantly, it takes time, and you need people that can just bankroll something to look that good. So hopefully in the future we get something, but with the outrage that's going on right now, I certainly wouldn't hold your breath. So that's all I have for you today. Hope you watch the show still. I'd say it's still worth the watch. I'll see you in the next one, everybody. Bye-bye.
Why do you have to make me so angry?
Disgusting!
Did you just say I was disgusting? I see. So you hate the oil on my face that much, do you? Then how about I give you a big